Hello, everyone, and welcome to Through the Covers. I'm Fred, and I'm really excited to finally get this podcast started. If you're someone who loves cricket conversations beyond just match highlights, then this podcast is for you. Through the Covers is where we dive deeper into the game, the latest cricketing news, player statistics, match analysis, team strategies, and of course some predictions about where the game might be heading. Cricket today is evolving faster than ever. Teams are experimenting with new approaches, players are redefining roles, and data-driven decisions are becoming more important with every tournament. Through this podcast, the goal is to understand the game from that perspective, not just what happens on the field, but why it happens. All right, welcome back to Through the Covers Episode 3. And today, we're stepping into a very interesting layer of this league. Because the three teams we're talking about today, they don't just differ in quality, they differ in philosophy. Lucknow Super Giants, Rajasthan Royals, and Gujarat Titans. Now here's what makes this episode special. All three of these teams at some point will look like title contenders this season. But only one of them actually behaves like one consistently. And that difference, that gap between looking like a champion and playing like one, that's what we're going to sit with today. Let's start with Lucknow Super Giants. There's a certain restlessness about this team now. And it starts right at the center. Rishabh Pant. This is no longer a team that waits for the game to come to them. This is a team that goes looking for the game, sometimes even forcing it. And when you build a team around that kind of personality, everything starts reflecting it. The batting is aggressive by default. Not situationally aggressive, but instinctively aggressive. Nicholas Curran doesn't take time. Mitchell Marsh doesn't wait for ideal conditions. Even someone like Aiden Markram, who is usually seen as composed, in this setup starts leaning towards intent over patience. So what you get is a batting unit that can flip a game in 5 overs, but also lose control in 5 overs. And that's the theme with Lucknow. It's not about ability, they have more than enough of it. It's about alignment, because when you move to their bowling, suddenly things look very structured. Mohammad Shami brings discipline. Nortje brings pace that unsettles. Avesh Khan adds that slightly chaotic wicket-taking ability. And on slower surfaces, especially at Akana, this bowling attack becomes very, very effective. But here's the contradiction. The pitch asks for control. The batting plays with impulse. And that mismatch, that subtle difference between what the conditions demand and what the team naturally does, is where Lucknow games start drifting. Now layer on top of that the decision-making. Pant as a captain is fascinating because he doesn't follow a fixed pattern. He reads moments instinctively. Sometimes that instinct is brilliant. A bowling change that shouldn't work, works. A field placement that looks strange suddenly makes sense. But instinct is not always repeatable. And over a long tournament, repeatability matters. That's why Lucknow feels like a team that can beat anyone, but not necessarily outlast everyone. They're dangerous, but they're not always dependable. Now, Rajasthan Royals. This team is different because Rajasthan doesn't confuse you with chaos. It confuses you with promise. Every single season, they build a squad that makes you pause and go, this is smart. This makes sense. And then the season begins. And somewhere along the way, it stops making sense. But this year, there's a deeper story. Because Rajasthan has gone through one of the most defining changes in the entire league. They let go of their captain, their long-term face, Sanju Samson. And in return, they bring in Ravindra, Jadeja, and Curran. That's not just a trade, that's a philosophical shift. Because Samson wasn't just a player, he was continuity. He led them for years, took them to a final, built the identity of this team around a certain batting core. And now suddenly, that entire axis is gone. In his place, you bring Jadeja, who, interestingly, returns to where it all began for him. And not as a young player anymore, but as a complete cricketer. And alongside him, Sam Curran, who gives you flexibility, left-arm variation, and a very specific kind of balance that Rajasthan didn't always have. So what Rajasthan has done here is move from being a batting core team to a more all-round, multi-dimensional setup. And that changes everything. Because now, instead of relying on the top order to dominate games, they have the option to control games. But the question is, can they actually do it? Because Rajasthan's issue has never been talent, it's been awareness. They play phases well, sometimes beautifully, but they don't always connect those phases. A strong start doesn't always become a strong finish. A controlled middle doesn't always translate into a winning position, and that's where this new setup becomes interesting. Jadeja doesn't just add skill, he adds control. He slows things down when needed. He understands tempo. Curran adds adaptability. He can adjust based on the situation, with both bat and ball. So theoretically, Rajasthan should now be a better game management team. But theory has never been their problem. Execution is. Because awareness in cricket is not about having the right players. It's about making the right decisions at the right time. And until Rajasthan consistently does that, they will always remain a team that looks better than their results. And then, Gujarat Titans. This is where things become very clear, because Gujarat doesn't try to impress you, it doesn't overwhelm you with flair, it doesn't even feel dominant in the traditional sense, it just wins. And when you watch them closely, you realize why. They understand the game better than most teams, not just individually, collectively. Shubman Gill as a leader reflects that calmness. There's no urgency in his decisions, no visible panic, and that spreads. The batting doesn't rush. It builds. It adapts. It responds. There's always a sense that Gujarat is not reacting to the game, it's staying ahead of it, and the bowling is structured with purpose. Rashid Khan doesn't just take wickets, he controls phases. Siraj brings intensity up front. Rabada gives you that strike threat exactly when you need it. And all of this operates within a system that is incredibly aware of match situations. Even their home ground, the Narendra Modi Stadium, becomes part of that system. Big boundaries, high pressure. And Gujarat uses that space intelligently. They don't force results. They allow the game to come to a point, and then they take it. And that is what separates them, because in the IPL, talent wins you moments. Awareness wins you tournaments. So when you step back and look at these three teams together, and the contrast is almost perfect. Lucknow Super Giants is energy. Explosive, unpredictable, capable of anything, but not always in control. Rajasthan Royals is evolution. A team in transition trying to move from potential to structure, but still searching for consistency in how it thinks through games. And Gujarat Titans is clarity. A team that knows exactly what it is, and more importantly, knows exactly what the game needs. And that's why, out of the three, Gujarat doesn't just look like a contender, it feels like one. And that's where we'll leave this. 3 teams, 3 identities, and a reminder that in a league like this, it's not just about how good you are, it's about how well you understand the moment you're in. This is Through the Covers. And every alternate day, a new episode drops. Next time, we take the next 3 teams and we go even deeper. I'll see you there.